Hi, everyone, and welcome to Love Speaks Love. I'm Denise, your host, and my beautiful guest is Maryanne Savino. Welcome, Maryanne.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Denise, for having me on. It's a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to connect, my dear. So just bear with me a second. So I did tag you in that, so you should be able to find it okay.
Okay.
So I'm just going to share it to a few places. Thank you, everyone who's joining us, and we will be right there with you. At some point, I'm going to have a theme tune, I guess you'd call it, to make this bit at the beginning a lot more easeful. All right. Okay. And if anyone is in resonance with this and you feel to share, that is always helpful. Thank you. Okay. 11. It was 1 minute and 10 seconds and 11 people. Okay, so while people are joining us, I will do our little heart to heart connect. And for those that don't know, Love Speaks Love is a platform for people to share wisdom, experience, and ceremony. And there shall be lots of that today. Oh, is that feedback on your end? For those that don't know, Love Speaks Love is a platform for people to share wisdom. Now, I just muted you, Maryanne, just while you sort that out. I might just leave that until we do the heart to heart connect. Okay, so let us bring our awareness to our heart space in the center of our chest. And I invite us all to breathe in love. Breathe love into your beautiful hearts. Big breaths in and out. Breathing love into every cell of your body. And on your out breath, breathe out anything that's stopping you from being in this now moment. And connecting all of our hearts together. Everybody watching us live or on the replay or on YouTube. And just feeling that love spreading around your body. And extending your heart awareness out to the heart of Mother Earth, the crystalline diamond heart of Gaia. And feeling her love, her gratitude, and her recognition of you. And connecting to the crystalline matrix of energy that emanates out from Gaia's beautiful heart. And just inviting into your body any crystalline energies that would be of benefit to you right now. And connecting our hearts to the heart of the sun, the heart of Source Creator. And in this, recognizing that we are all in one unified field of love. We are all connected. One heart, one love. All of our hearts beating together as one. So opening your eyes whenever you're ready. Oh, that's better.
That was lovely.
Nice and simple, but it does the job. So I can't remember when we last connected on Love Speaks Love. I can't do time and me just are not
Yeah.
working together at the moment. It could be 9, 6, 2 months. I've got no idea. But I know that this year has been a big year for everybody, and I know your year started in quite a quite a big way, and it's been a year of healing for you as well, aside from everything else that's been going on. So how are you, and how are you finding the energies at the moment?
Well, I just went in for some routine tests and all is well. I'm healthy and doing well and getting back to my center more, and that's always wonderful. But yes, it has been quite a year um, within the chaos and just feeling so unsettled in so many ways. I think it's been a blessing to find any moment of being able to come back to my center. I think a lot of us are feeling this way.
Yeah.
Anything that we can do in the midst of the chaos to come back to ourselves, because I feel that this whole journey, I'm realizing, and of course, that we all have our own personal journeys, but I think we all share a common thread. And it's that we disconnect, we separate so that we can have a deep understanding of what it actually feels back to be whole in ourselves and with each other and with life. And we have to detach sometimes and maybe fall apart and let ourselves actually fall apart, that it's okay that I can't keep it together today. I just can't do it, and that let that be okay. Because there is definitely a gift in it. I have been finding more and more, without the struggle. Now, I don't want it to become a part of my life every day, but without some of that necessary, struggling that we go through, again, it helps me to remember, wow, to really appreciate when I can feel that place of wholeness, of deeper connection, not only to myself in my own body, but to the whole collective of life, of the universe, the multiverse, as I call it. And I think many of us have been experiencing a lot of this. So, um, yeah, it's been a journey, I have to say.
And it's interesting what you say there as well about getting more kind of in our bodies, more connected with our bodies. And this has been part of the journey, I think, for a lot of us, that originally we connected with the universe kind of out there. And now we're coming to know that we connect with the universe in here. It's through being within and fully in our physical bodies that actually we connect more out there. And I think a lot of us, it's been the lower chakras that a lot of us don't want to be here. We struggle with being here a bit and kind of take ourselves off. And the higher chakras are often a lot more open, but we need to be in our physical bodies. We need to be fully grounded. And we can't really anchor those energies in that we're trying to without being that lightning rod, without being, you know, not just pottering along above the earth, but actually fully connected with it, with our energy like anchored in deeply.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of times in a lot of meditations that I've experienced in the past, when I used to do a lot of meditating, it was always about having a visual and being up here. But then I thought, as I did more and more of that, I was starting to feel not comfortable. Like, why doesn't this feel good to me? And I realized that because of the trauma that my physical body and psyche have endured, not probably only from this lifetime, but many, I realized that if I can bring my awareness to my heart, but then even bring it down further into my pelvis, into the beautiful pelvic bowl that, we can connect to the earth, to Mother Earth. So it's like the womb of Gaia, to the womb and Hara for the men, womb of the woman, Hara of the men, to really come back in. And it's not even about a gender thing. It's an energy that if we can feel ourselves being held in this womb, in this cup of love, of peacefulness, to not be up here with it, but to bring it down and settle in. And even if it feels uncomfortable, sometimes I'll find myself taking my hands and placing them on my belly. And this way I get the sensation, like, what am I feeling sensorially in my body? Because that can help us ground better when we actually feel our own bodies. Like, wow, I've been avoiding this. I've actually abandoned myself because of the trauma. And we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think that's a very common thing. And it's almost like we don't want to get into our hearts, first of all, because we feel the pain in there.
Yes.
And then we don't want to go everywhere else because we feel that pain. But unless we feel it and allow ourselves to experience it, we can't kind of get past that.
Absolutely. That's so true. It's like the unwanted parts of ourselves that we disconnected from because of the pain.
Yeah.
That we want to invite them back in, come back home, because they're yearning to come home. Only we've been, nope, that, wait a minute, that's too much. And it's okay, because some of the traumas that we've experienced, have been quite painful, and it's not going to be done overnight. I don't believe in, a quick fix, because first of all, we're not broken. And if we are broken, it takes time to mend. So you can take however long your soul needs for you to take, and to know that there are no have tos. There's no one way. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you resonate with. I think the word resonance is an important part of this journey, because it's a sense of knowing and fitting in without trying so hard, that, oh, this just fits and it feels good. Or even if it doesn't feel good, I still feel something about it that feels okay for me, even if it's not okay. I don't know if that sounds a little weird, but it's hard to put it into a word, but it's a sensory feeling. I think we really are multi-sensory beings, and not just the five senses, but the senses beyond the beyond that we can tap into, that knowing, that just that innate intelligence that's right here with us.
Yeah, beautifully expressed. And I've been doing a lot more inward work, and for years I've done a lot of inward work with my physical body, and that just seems to have, these last few weeks especially, seems to have gone up a lot, like the desire to do that, almost the need. I don't like the word, but it almost feels like there's a need, and I don't even want to say urgency, but there's, it kind of like it just has to be done
A
at the
yearning,
moment.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
desiring. I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it feels on a whole different level too. It feels like it's going in much deeper. Um, and as you say, a lot of the traumas that our body is holding are not even ours. They're things that we carry forward in our DNA. They're things that we carry from the land that we're in. Um, Even maybe from Gaia herself. And I feel in our DNA that is most likely not just from Earth either, but there's resonances and energies that we're holding and healing. Um,
It's galactic,
yeah,
yes. Yeah. And we are an extension of Gaia. You know, we are part of her. So whatever she's feeling, we walk upon her, we live with her, we are feeling this.
yeah,
So when we're feeling it, I remind myself, our poor Mother Earth, if I'm feeling it, what is she feeling? And then I have a lot more compassion for myself, for the earth, and for others who are struggling. That, you know, we really truly are not alone in this. At times I know it feels that way, but it's just a reminder. And I want to get into this now because again, you know, I'm not a person who needs evidence, because I believe in the power of, if you feel it and it feels really strong, then you have to trust that feeling. But I believe that when we incarnate, like before we incarnate, we're like, oh, it's exciting. We're going to go to Earth. This is going to be fun. And it's, you know, even if it's challenging, it's still going to be incredible, da 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 da. And so you start to make your way through the gate and you come in and you're like, huh? Well, what is this? What's happening down here? What? And then you forget, you get amnesia. And you have, you know, something there, you sense it, but you can't quite put your finger on it yet. And as you start to live your life and you grow, that beautiful innocence of the child, it doesn't leave, but it goes down and it gets covered up by all the programming and all the stuff that goes on, that, you know, we're being, you know, patterning and programming what we learn from our parents and society, and if we're religions and whatever it is. And so then, of course, you start to go through these experiences and you think, why is this happening to me? And you get these senses, sensory feelings and images and sensations, like something is happening to me here and I don't know what it is, but you start to seek, I need to know what this is. And then you start remembering, you start not only just waking up, it's like a reawakening to your authentic galactic self, that we really are galactic beings that chose to be here in an earthly life. We chose to come into this earthly human vessel. And as I say, we forget it first and it starts to feel really heavy. And there's a lightness that starts to fade and you think, well, where's that lovely feeling? Where's that wonderful experience? And it's not so much, again, that it is a disconnect to a certain degree, but I believe it is because we chose this to be here at a time on the planet that we've never come this far. We've never come this far. We've never gotten to this point, and now we are, and it feels like it's getting more and more intense and worse, and like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? But it is a divine remembrance of our galactic nature, and I believe our galactic nature is trying to get our attention. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a, okay, sorry about that.
that's all right.
It's our galactic nature that knows, that's like kind of hitting us, hey, wait a second, pay attention, I'm right here, don't go away, wait. And so you're like, what was that? You know, and then you get another glimpse or another sensation. And so we really are not just waking up, but it's a reawakening of a remembrance of our galactic nature, which is that of the pure love of the universe. But as human beings, when we incarnate, our frequency changes. We're not in the fullness of our light, at least the feeling of it, because we have to drop it a bit in order to remain in the density. and it can be really unsettling. But things like meditation, being out in nature, yoga, creative expression, sound therapy, any kind of modality or practice pathway that you resonate to, that you feel, oh, this is really great. I love the feeling of this. It's all about that sensory of feeling. When you tap into that, it really does help us to navigate the density, because everyone keeps saying, well, we've entered the fifth dimension. Well, I do believe we're no longer fully in 3D, but we're not quite in 5D all the time either. I think we navigate, we go in and out, even to higher. And then we come back down and we go in and out and in and out. And it's finding any pathway, any practice that you resonate with to help you navigate the journey. I think that's, those are the things that I would recommend.
Yeah, yeah, I'd so hear you on that. And to me, 5D isn't like it's here. It's all around us. But we're not fully in it, as you say. We have times when you're in that space of love. Something comes along and you're just in that space and nothing kind of knocks you off that perch. Um, and maybe I'm sure there are some people on the planet that are in 5D all the time, but we're certainly not there as a planet. And I don't feel, sometimes people talk about Earth separating, and I don't really so much resonate with that. But all these things can be going on, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your reality. Your reality can
Yeah.
be in 5D. Um, Someone explained, I can't think who it was, someone explained it really well the other day, but it's kind of like something that Franco de Nicola talked about one time was about him taking some students to um, a particular area where there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of whatever, but they walked through this area and saw none of that. So for
Ah,
them walking through, all that stuff might be going on all around,
right.
but it's like your
Consciousness is in a different place.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Celia Fenn said something one time about the separating of the earth that I actually did like. And you see some of these images where you see two earths and one is heavier and darker, and then you have all this illuminated color coming around the new earth. And I think what it is, she had said it perfectly, that the old 3D earth and the new 5D earth are actually the same, occupying the same
yeah,
physical space, but are in different dimensions. So
yeah,
again, it's about that state of consciousness, that we are physically here on Mother Earth in a sense, a third dimensional, physical, fleshy, bony, prison that carries around our soul. That's how I'll put it. It's not a bad thing. It's just, and I know in my sleep state is when I do my most traveling into the other dimensions, because it's a heck of a lot easier.
yeah.
Sometimes in meditation, I do it as well. But in the sleep state, I wake up and think, wow, I feel like I have the worst hangover. Where on earth was I? And it's like I'm back here in the heaviness again. And then I have to breathe and say, okay, let me level out here, bring my light deeper into my body, but still stay grounded, and know that I'm navigating dimensions, and that is okay. That it's what our souls want, experiences. That's how you grow and know and flow, is through experience, even when it's not comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the feeling of certain emotions too. It's almost like we have these emotions over here are all right to feel. We'll feel those. Those make us feel good. And these, no, we don't like these, so we're going to just push these away. But they're just they're just feelings,
Right.
and we can't really judge them as being good or bad. Like some are heavier, to navigate through, but they just are.
Yeah.
And sometimes, having a different approach to this. So when something comes along, like, maybe the feeling of loneliness or whatever it is, like, that's what that feels like. And still kind of
Right.
embrace it and still bring it to your heart. And I think to digress slightly, but not really, it's all about love. It's all about loving those parts of ourselves that we're struggling with, like you were talking about before, the
Yeah.
parts of ourselves that we've kind of pushed away and the painful things. It's our body's way of showing us the bits that are not feeling loved, that are not loved by
And
us.
it's how we had to survive as small
Yeah,
children. If we had trauma and we didn't know how to cope with it, which is what I experienced, I didn't realize it then.
yeah,
But later on, I said, oh, that's why I split off.
yeah,
But now I can come back and invite the part of
yeah.
myself that's angry, that's frightened, that's anxious, that's lonely, that's sad, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and open up a space inside. It's like opening up the door and saying, come on back in. I'm welcoming you home,
Yeah,
because those little orphan aspects want to come home. That's all they want. And we keep slamming the door in their face. It's
yeah.
like, oh, what have I been doing? I'm so sorry. It's like, here, I showed this to Shanine when I was on her show. This is little Maryanne. So
She's so perfect.
yeah, she's got her little Lyran kitty and her giraffe. And when I'm in a really unpleasant place and I have a really rough day, I grab her and I hold her as if I'm holding myself back then
Yes.
when she was traumatized.
Yeah.
I don't have to relive the trauma, but I can go back and infuse the trauma with my own love.
Yeah, I so feel that and hear that. There was something that I did last week that was my inner teenager, and I've probably done more inner child work than inner teenager. And I went back to a particular pinnacle of pain that I had as a teenager. And a lot of this was about not being seen. As a teenager, I did not like to put my hand up in class. I didn't like the attention to be on me.
Wow.
And I used to blush a lot as well. And it was a real thing for me. Like, it used to really upset me. And I would be quite traumatized is a strong word, but I would feel fairly traumatized at the prospect of having to do that and be seen and be the center of attention. So I went back to myself at that time and I held myself and I spoke to myself and said, you know, I understand what you're going through. This is going to get easier. And gave myself some advice to, like, speak to a teacher that I liked about it. And it's really interesting how many times in my life when I've called out to my higher self, I mean, I wouldn't have called out to my higher self then, but in adult life, how many times is that actually me going back to me at that time and just holding myself, and just really bringing myself into my heart and
That's
saying, it's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. And, I promise you that this is going to get easier.
Yeah, I think it's important that we go back to the parts of ourselves. And again, we don't have to keep reliving the trauma over, but they're tugging on us saying, please pay
Yeah.
attention to me. If you have a physical, let's say, pain in your body, I'm very big on somatic therapies because whatever doesn't get resolved in the psyche that's in the subconscious finds its way in the body physically. And if we're willing to pay attention, wow, why is my back hurting so much, or why am I just so exhausted? I mean, okay, there could be other things creating, but when it becomes chronic,
Mm.
that's a sign there's something going on. So if we could stop, go inside of ourselves and ask, is there something that I need to know? I'm listening.
Yeah.
share with me whatever I'm not paying attention to. I'm willing to show up and be fully responsible because I have to be in order to survive. I'm responsible. You know, sometimes we do need assistance. I also believe we're not meant as a human species to go through the pain alone all the time. We have this need and yearning in us, and just biologically, to connect with others. Even if it could be nature, it could be animals, yes, humans. We're not meant to go through the pain alone, and we don't have to. We do have the responsibility of speaking out and asking when we need the help.
Yeah.
That we do need to do.
Yeah, and I think that's a hard lesson for a lot of people. We've learned, which is maybe a bit of a almost malfunction on our part. We've learned to be like super independent, especially when we have issues around trust. We just learn to do things ourselves. But in a way, you know, that to actually ask for help, and you're creating space for that help to come in through asking too.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of pain I feel in my body has been fears. I spent most of my life fearful. And it's almost like we pick that up pretty quickly, that feeling of separation, which is very closely linked to the fear. We pick that up pretty quick.
Yep.
I feel, you know, if we don't have it when we come in, we tend to pick it up quite quickly.
I think it sometimes happens in utero. Well, yeah, we could be coming in with it. It's in the DNA. Like if I had a fearful mother, when I was gestating in her womb, I was being imprinted on. So I'm not going to blame her for that. She didn't know any better. Of course, at first I was so angry and I did blame her, and I just was, how could, you know, and then as okay, let me take responsibility. Then I started to have compassion for her, knowing that she didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But that this fear is not mine. And I can work through it to say, I get the message, but you don't belong to me. And I'm so sorry you're struggling, but I'm going to set you free and put you into light so you could feel better. And it's not that I'm going to give it back to my mother because she threw it on me, because then that's, you know, that's doing that's not being very forgiving. But we're human, and sometimes it took me a while to even do that. But if you can say, whatever like this is something I actually do, whatever is my lesson here, anything that I need to take responsibility for, I take responsibility. But if this is an energy that does not belong to me, I refuse to allow it into my field and into my life. I release it back into God's love or back into light, however way you want to put it, because in that moment, you are taking responsibility. You're not being angry about it and saying, here, take that back, you know, and go to hell because it's not mine. But saying, you know, okay, I'm sorry you went through this, but I can't take this on. So I'm going to release myself. Instead of saying I release that, I release myself from this energy. It's a lot more powerful. And we can do it because it's, you know, may happen over time. It may not just be one time that you do it and it's finished, but in the knowing that, okay, I don't have to accept this. I only have to take responsibility for myself and what I do or don't do, whatever action I take or not take, that's up to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been bringing a lot of things into my heart as well, a lot of pains in my body. You know, originally when I was dealing with this, it would be to push it out. Whereas now I'm bringing it more into my heart space. You know, any imaginings that I have that are fearful, bringing them into my heart space. And it's amazing how quickly that feels like it transmutes. It's like our heart is this incredibly powerful transmutation chamber. So recognizing that there's no separation, instead of me wanting to just push all that stuff away, it's like, come in.
Invite it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's like invite yourself back home.
Yeah.
Invite the parts of you, because you didn't know any better. You were a child, or you just weren't aware. It doesn't matter. I didn't know any better, but now I do. And I'm welcoming you home so that we could heal,
Yeah.
feel better, and live better. And that's taking radical responsibility for your own wounding. I think it's very powerful at a time right now that we're in with all the shifting and changing. And we're about to go in. I can go over very briefly some of the planetary.
Yeah, please.
Because we just came through and we're still in this solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which is a beautiful sign because, I mean, every sign has its pros and cons, but, Sagittarius is the philosopher. It's foreign travel. It's the, spiritual warrior that's beautiful. And with this eclipse, being that it was, new moon, it's a new beginning into a whole new way of living, a whole new way of being. And we're still in that energy. It's fresh, new energy. And today, Chiron, the wounded healer, which is in Aries currently, just stationed direct. It was retrograding. And so what that means is we are moving forward with our healing, because Aries is ruled by Mars and it moves. It needs to move. So that stagnancy that we've been in, a lot of people said they've been feeling really stuck. That's going to start to move now. And that's a great thing, because I feel like, for me personally, I'd like some movement to come back in. So here we are, Chiron direct. We can also, with this energy, look back and see how we've been healing as we move forward. And then on December 17th is huge, because Saturn is moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So big shifts globally, and, looking for a bigger picture. And instead of a very structured self, this is opening up and expanding into freedom. So that's going to be exciting. And then on the 18th of December, the sun will align with the galactic center. And that's a high energy day. That's going to be that's December 18th. On the 20th, just a few days after Saturn moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius, Jupiter will join Saturn in Aquarius. And that's going to set the tone, because Jupiter is about expansion and success and optimism. And we really need that. Oh my God, do we really need that? So I'm excited about that. And then on the 21st is the beautiful solstice gateway, the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius right on the solstice. So huge. And then, of course, Sun and Mercury will move into Capricorn. And that's a lot about, huge activation in consciousness begins. On the 23rd, Mars will be in square to Pluto. So there could be some tension there, but also the ending of things. So that's also important. And then on the 29th of December or 30th, depending on where you are, is a beautiful full moon in Cancer. And that's the culmination of the ending of the year, of coming into this full moon, shedding light on the beautiful energy of that Cancerian mother, of family, of really being nurtured. So I think this is some powerful stuff coming up, I have to say, as we head into 2021, being a 5-year in numerology, is all about radical change and freedom. So it's interesting to see where this is going to take us. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's I can't imagine that 2020 is just going to fizzle out after the year that it's been. You can't imagine it just, you know, oh yeah, we've done it all now. We'll just
No, it's going to
very
take a little
softly.
navigating to kind of, level out a bit. Probably, like I would say, the first month or two, give it a little bit of a chance to kind of wean out of that. And maybe by spring, which would be a good time, new beginnings, also rebirth. So, and, I said there'll be some movement coming back in. People are, well, you said there was going to be all this movement. Well, it could be slow movement in that, yes, I can take a step and actually get somewhere this time. Whereas before, I'm like, I keep stepping, but nothing's happening. Well, now we could take a step, take a moment, wait a little bit, let it settle down, take another step. So it's really about that feminine energy of patience, really being patient with the change.
And
Because, yeah.
even though there's not been that much physical movement this year, inner movement,
Oh, yeah. Huge.
so much, so much. You know, you can feel how strong the energy is coming in at the moment, especially at night. It feels like when I'm trying to get to sleep,
Of course.
you can just feel like, my body's buzzing. The bed feels like it's vibrating. I can feel as energy lines are really activated. And, the energy coming out of my hands is a lot stronger. The energy in my legs is a lot stronger. Like everywhere, I can just feel it all around my body. It's all buzzing much more strongly. And I can feel I've had big leaps forward
Yes.
too. I may have been quite still, but energetically, huge leaps forward.
Yeah, I've known a number of people who've been experiencing that. I too myself have been feeling like when I sometimes hear myself, oh, but I feel so stuck and I'm not getting anywhere. And then I stop and say, really? Actually, a lot is transforming here. We don't always see it,
Yeah.
but the bigger picture, I really now am starting to get a better sense that it's all in divine place, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Something in us knows that this is all divinely in place.
Yeah.
And we have to start trusting that more, really stepping into that pathway of faith that it's even in the darkness, the light is there and ready to shine through. And it is.
And I think we are shining that light. And even though there may be days when we're like, I'm not shining much light today, and we can feel that we're just in our shadow or whatever, we are still anchoring the
Yeah.
light. And it's almost like I often this year have had this vision of a relay race with a baton. And, someone else has got the baton and someone else is resting. And then they're tired. Like the geese flying and there's
Yeah.
one at the front and they take it in
Yeah.
turns. That's very much what it feels like, that someone else takes the lead for a while and he's like, yeah, I'm feeling good. And then, 2 days later, you're like, meh, someone else's turn. Come on
Yeah.
in.
And that is what we're meant to be living this way with community where we're helping one another. It's not just what am I going to get out of it, because if everyone gave something at the same time we're all giving to something, we're also receiving.
Yeah.
But if we all say, oh, I want something, no, I need this, no, then nothing. But if you all give at the same time, then as you're giving, somebody's giving to you. I'm giving to you, that person's giving to her. And
Yeah.
but it takes some change and awareness. And I think we're getting there. It's slow, but we're getting there.
And thank goodness for the internet,
Yeah.
because we're all kind of aware of what's going on and how different people are feeling. And, someone expresses something, you're like, oh, thank goodness, I thought that was just me. I thought I was going crazy. Um, so it does feel an amazing time. And plus, we can still connect. We can still,
Yeah.
you and I both do Zoom things online. There's still a way of reaching people that can be anywhere on the planet as long as they've got internet, which
That's
most
true.
you know,
Yep.
most people are doing these days. It's an
Yeah,
incredible time.
it is. Should we do some activations for our
Yeah.
listeners and people watching?
Yeah, and I'm feeling that it will be linked to the energies that are coming through. I don't always have the heads up of what it is that I'm bringing through, but that's my feeling at the moment, that it's really to help with this anchoring that we're doing and the big changes that we're experiencing.
Yeah, I'm getting that some of this activation will be to help us to access more of our galactic nature so that we can really bring our multidimensional essence out into the world. And that way we are navigating from that place rather than our fear from the ego, our old patterning, and rather just let that fall by the wayside and let the galactic within us come forth. So that's what I'm sensing. Of whatever else comes in, I do sense some healing energy to come in for anyone in need of any kind of healing, and then whatever else wishes to join us.
Would you like to start, my dear? Thank
I
you.
would love to. And just breathe in and out in your own rhythm. Makuaran zero shamaya. Yalan overan egiria kusia lea shamakota yalama. Eron ajala kusiaria shisisiran ia. Engiaran zir kuzira vashella itara. Atar akakuselaia. Alakuzera zenjera zaila. Kunti ze viaranje mu karusaitaral. Acum ajar o verona. Mejezin a Jezova ela ia qua. Enturi essa sunna ilam koishela ia. Aluvara noveia agera usa unde acuige. Mazurina ejecure saluvaruneka. A lot of lyrans coming in. Woo, lots of cat. Oshekot taraishana zeronjezi kusi kashisa. Missions kasushisa zengodisha ndigodisa shazea. Shusema kasusha sea shea yai akotoi era. Hush kaskash kasasenje sea ul avai. Eshantea kuma antu ia kuzia ujamuvaia la ukam. Mabela iarun iaranaku irjen italui. Arakatakus angea kum avearun agiarin azian zayun. Akum avore tai ila. Ashuma al aqua.
Iad aron ui aran iakun, mal aran iakit an ust ora, mal ara hia et ia, kul aran ikiatata. Kulehiad aran ol aran iakan, kul aran boy ist ora. Kulle parane iat ut udar, ulehian dietet un ukretan ikdet an, hul aran ia a kust utututun, ma le aran ika, mol a hia, ma la e ut unu kuiestai, bel ian eron ukul, ma la kele eron ukui, mukula hia nakadoran nakuduela bata, el hiat oi it unna ai, Milikishtele oronoia tanaka hukdoia nakale ia stadadun mol ehiad era mol ai ile I itun a mikile oronoia tanama a mikilegiaran ukia ust it ora makula paran ikdena uktun Ukele kiest a hiatun, mulla hia eron ukde ist, mal ekila eron ukui ets est it just working with the solar plexus just now and just helping release from there. Hoi arai it in ioia, mukule hiane dedera, mula ya di dura, uklehiat et onokula it ina, mukula hiantaro unokuishta tata. Kiale hanoi et onokula kiena tonokukui. Just helping release fears, bringing us to that true state of empowerment. Me aronoi atanokupei, bearalia notun, ukia il aronokuya, ukulekiana tunokusht tatata. And just breathing that energy up into our hearts. Kiel ihyan urun yatanaya koi istai nakala utuna. Kudet asht nakilea nono tutoi tatataan.
Makori sin ni jiaron tarakasen na lea ialaya. A lot of Lemurian priestesses coming in, the mother energy. Koli sarona shalai. Ajalai akuna iseno. Mekutu ia to open up our creative essence. Mekushila isenukutu yishemekatai nea. Meziria zangelia lialolaya. Kansuri ajer kusana shamakuatiria. Ishkatalila yarakatai irashemiyakasai. Injiria kusi zisi shanziakuti. Haluviara nakua iara niasanuja. Anajur ian aramai. Atkuleva uverian ajibia uzer umikatu ijer. These are very ancient codes. Ancient codes from a time way, eons ago. To help you remember. From the beginning of time. Not so important as what you did then, but what you can do now. Echukota lo mashemodai ikamun age. Remember who you are. Remember the magnificence of your soul as you make such a difference in creation here at this time. You are the true pioneers of this time, helping to shift the consciousness, helping to remember your soul's light and to bring that light deeper into your bodies, but then out into life, to emit the frequency of your soul out into life. And so we leave you with this. Ajiara kutara musa baiira. Kanturia ajiara. And breathe.
Thank you, Maryanne. Wow. Yeah, that did feel really ancient and very very motherly energy as well. Like it felt ancient, but I could really feel the wise.
The wisdom grandmothers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it felt like in me. I started to
yeah.
feel that I even felt my hair get long and gray. It was unbelievable. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Woo! I'm like looking, thinking, am I really turning gray here? Not that that's a bad thing. It's just like I could actually feel the sensory of the hair. I'm like, wow, this is really cool.
And almost galactic, like galactic grandmothers.
Yes. Yes.
Did you want to expand on what you said at the beginning there about bringing our galactic aspects in? Was there more you wanted to share on that? Because it does feel really timely.
Yeah, people will ask, well, how do I do that? And actually, there's no really one way. One of the things I find helpful before you go to sleep at night to ask your own galactic nature, your own galactic essence to come in with guidance. Maybe you want to have some insight about where you're headed on your path. To really just ask your own galactic essence to please come in, take your place within me, help me to remember you better. Going to sleep at night so that in the dream state, when you're calmer and the mind is not as busy, then you can take it in, it comes in easier. But when we're busy running around and doing this and distractions and it's like it's trying to make itself aware, but we're too busy to pay attention. It's like you're like, no, 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 not consciously. So in meditation, before you go to bed at night, in forms of creative expression, I made these beautiful codes right before I got on. I don't know if you could see.
Just let me highlight your video. Um, yeah, I can see lines 1 and 2 pretty clearly. Line 3 isn't so clear. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to post it. I'll take a
Yeah.
photo of it and post it on my page. But I would say before you go to sleep at night, ask your divine presence, please connect me to my galactic nature. Help me bring in the awareness to my galactic nature. I'm calling on you, or can I come visit you in the temples? Sometimes I like to call upon Venus or Arcturus. For some reason, those are places I will connect to, or wherever you feel drawn. If you're connecting to Sirius or Lyra or Andromeda or Pleiades, ask for, I'd like to come visit you. I'd like to come visit the sacred temples and be with you to help me remember who I really am. So in the sleep, dream state, creative expression, meditation, any form, modality that brings you a feeling of joy, I would say is going to help you with that, because it's only our mind's disconnect that we will get caught up in. But the truth is, we already have the essence with us. We just can't tap into it so easily sometimes. So if you ask, and I'm willing to be open to receive this, I'm willing to, I'm open to receive a beautiful experience here, I'm ready, as simple as that. And before you go to sleep at night, and keep
Beautiful.
a pad and pen next to you, because sometimes, like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll get a download. It's like, oh, wait a minute, and then I have to go and write because it just comes in. Or I wake up in the morning in a dream. I just had such a clear image of it. And so if you write about your experience, that way you have it and you can tap back into it anytime. And just ask, I call upon my galactic essence. I call upon my galactic being, to guide me today, show me the way. What's the next sacred action or next message that I need to be aware of? Show me, guide me. I think if you do that regularly, it's like anything else. It's going to build and get stronger.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation.
And it feels the wording that came in as you were speaking that was that because I feel the embodiment of our multidimensional aspects is part of what we're here to do. It's not just about embodying the higher self, it's our higher aspects too. And
Yes.
it's almost like the more we call them in, invite them in, the more they start to come in. It's like it creates a pathway that
Yes.
means it's much easier for those aspects to drop in more and more.
That's why we're clearing so much.
Yeah.
People say, well, why do we have to go through all that? We don't have to go through so much clearing. Actually, I think we do. And I think
Yeah.
it's actually powerful because the more we release the density, we open up, like you said, a pathway for the part of us that we cut off from to come back home. Say, I'm now going to release anything and everything that's not serving me. I thank you for the lessons because you taught me something well here, but I'm going to release myself from you and I'm calling back in the part of me that I disconnected from. I'm calling in my galactic nature to come home and take your place within me. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but I would say if you do this regularly, there's some good stuff here for us, for sure.
Yep. I was going to just add something to that and it's slipped me by. Yeah, just about the resonance, the less density there is there, it's almost like we won't even have to try. The resonance will just be there for it all to just
Exactly.
click into place.
Yeah, it doesn't really require a lot of doing. As a matter of fact, it's not about doing. It's about being in the awareness that, and I don't mean you sit back and do nothing, but if you sit back and say, oh, I'm ready to receive, if there's something I can do action wise, I'll take the action, but then step away, sit back, open yourself up, and let it in. Like, I invite you in because that is doing something without all the busyness and the scatteredness. Oh, I better do this. Oh, I better read that book. Oh, I better go take that course. There's nothing wrong with all those things, but the feeling of have to, it just feels too much. It's like it's too much doing. Like, okay, I'll take some action and then I'm going to step out of the way and let it come in.
Yeah.
There's better rewards that come in, I think, from that.
Beautiful. Do you have anything coming up that you would like to share about?
Let's see. Do I have anything coming up? I will be having some classes. I keep saying this. It's just, again, timing. I have to go with what my galactic nature is guiding me to do. At this point, as we're coming in toward the holidays, I know some people are celebrating. So I've decided, plus I want to get past the conjunctions and let all this settle in a bit. I would say I believe in the new year, I will have some, online courses, but I will continue to offer free Facebook Live, events just to offer to community. And then I will have some webinars coming up on Zoom, both by myself and then collaboratively in the new year.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I think I'm going to be doing on Thursday. I haven't done the event yet. I shall do it after this, but I'm going to be doing a sound healing, a Zoom one. And I've just got then that the focus will be kind of preparation for the solstice. So there'll be light language as well. So if anyone is interested in that, keep an eye out for the event. I don't think Facebook shares events very much, so you might have to just look on my page. So thank you, everybody that's been with us on the live. Thank you for joining us. Maryanne, thank you. As always, it's always a pleasure. Always a powerful experience.
I'm honored and I'm feeling very blessed and so grateful to you, Denise, and to the community. Please support Love Speaks Love, and tell your friends about it. Make a donation if you can. Share whatever you can. This is how we connect, and make this wonderful platform really a place to feel and be loved. And so I thank you for that.
Thank you, sweetheart. Okay, so yeah, I will pop the PayPal in the comments. Thank you, my love. And thank you, everybody. And we will see you soon.
Bye bye. Love you.
Love, love, love.